Notre Dame and Navy enter interesting seasons for different reasons. You have year two of the Marcus Freeman regime at Notre Dame, and you have year one of the Brian Newberry regime at Navy. With Ken Niumatalolo being fired and moving on from Navy, this is going to be a interesting group to watch, and they face a Notre Dame team that is looking to get back to the top of college football. And obviously, there have been some changes on both sides, whether that's transfers, whether that's coaching staff. So that'll be interesting. I think the biggest dynamic for this game is what does Notre Dame's offense do? Because when you look at what Notre Dame did last year, this was still an offense that was fairly decent at moving football down the field, but they were obviously lacking the touch that they needed in terms of throwing the football. I think they needed a weapon, a difference maker at quarterback, and they just didn't have that. And we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But the defense for Navy last year flew under the radar in terms of how good they were at slowing teams down. Now they weren't an elite group by any means, but they were good at slowing things down. They were good at, even though this is a team that struggled mightily last year, especially offensively. So more pressure went to the defense. But this is a group that finished top 10 in rushing in terms of rush defense. This is a group that continuously kept this team in games because they were able to slow things down. They were able to keep everything in front of them. And they had a swarming group that didn't miss a ton of opportunities to capitalize. Now you face a Notre Dame team that, here's the thing, Notre Dame made a huge addition in addressing one of their deficiencies, which was the passing attack. They made a big addition by adding Sam Hartman to their offense, and now you get to see what does this passing attack look like. You have plenty of options. We just don't know who's going to be that go-to receiver or go-to pass catcher. Michael Mayer is gone, but you do return some wide receivers that give you interesting options. Jaden Thomas is one. Chris Tyree. You're looking at players that give you potential to be really explosive options. And how this passing attack does honestly dictates how good this team can be. Marcus Freeman obviously has the defense under wraps, but how does he get the offense to take a step forward? And Sam Hartman's addition is a huge addition for this team. It's a great pick by this staff to be able to bring him in from Wake Forest with over 12,000 yards of experience. Last year threw for over 3,700 yards, 38 touchdowns. That is a difference maker that you want on your team, and that is someone who can make an impact and give you that missing piece, the missing link to get you to that next level. When you look at game one, obviously it's looking at the beginning of the season versus the end of the season, Notre Dame looked very different, but it was very obvious that this passing attack left something to be desired. Now, not all of that is on the quarterback. You have to have wide receivers that can create separation. You have to find players that can be difference makers. And so there's blame to be put on both sides. But now you have Sam Hartman here. And if the offense can find a passing attack, I really like what they can do as a team, as a whole. When you look at, we mentioned Freeman's hands on the defense. This is a defense that returns a ton of talent. This is a team that should be one of the best defenses in college football, honestly. When you look at the front seven, so many talented players. The linebackers, honestly, might be one of the best in college football. You look at what they did last year up front. They finished 36 in tackles for loss, 13th in sacks. Obviously, you lose a couple key pieces on the defensive line, but this is a group that should be very good in 2023. And Marcus Freeman running the show only ensures that they will do that. You have the talent there combined with the scheme, combined with the coaching staff. I really like where this group could be this year. This is a defense that will be very tough to beat. And even though you're facing a triple option team in Navy, it still will be tough to move the football against Notre Dame. And now that everybody has a little bit more familiarity with Marcus Freeman's system in year two, that gives you more confidence. That gives you the ability to do more things because you trust your players to be more responsible and be more disciplined. So now you get a Notre Dame team that's playing with more confidence and it can be disruptive to this Navy rushing attack. And that's I think the biggest thing with when you look at Navy specifically is what are they able to do to keep this game close? Because the triple option obviously gives you an extra advantage. Notre Dame's seen it enough where they should know how to defend it, but it's still a unique offense that gives you something that teams don't have. It keeps you in games, it keeps things slow in terms of pace, and you just need to find your quarterback. Is Ty Lavatai going to be that player? Is he going to be that efficient rusher of the football at quarterback? This is again, everything's changing for Navy. So how do they keep this game close? How do they're probably not winning this game. And I say probably, I mean they're not. They just don't have the talent to keep up. The only thing they have is that triple option. And maybe, the things that Notre Dame has to figure out in terms of offensively, maybe you have an opportunity to surprise people. What do they I think the biggest thing is this is a surprising test for Notre Dame because of the triple option, but also because this defense flew under the radar last year. This is a defense that played with a ton of confidence, and that's where you get to see Sam Hartman's impact. I think you get to see a talented group of receivers, a talented group of pass catchers, but what does Sam Hartman do to put balls in places where only his guys can get it? And what does he do to make throws on big downs when they need to pick up a first down or they need to pick up extra yardage? What can he do to do that? And obviously, you have a defense that now faced this triple option attack. They know what they're capable of, but last year, Navy did some serious damage. They averaged 5.5 yards per carry. So it comes down to whose style will win this game. Which style will be able to take over. Navy is looking to be efficient moving the football and keep that pace down. Notre Dame is looking for that big play. And now I think you get that dynamic. You get a big playmaker in Sam Hartman that gives you someone who can take things over the top. So, what does this Notre Dame team do to make sure that they are playing their style and not keeping things slow? And if the things are slow because Navy's just eating up clock, time of possession obviously will be something to keep an eye on. What does Notre Dame do to continue being efficient with their drives? What do they do to take care of the football, and how do they ensure that they continue putting up points to keep things away from Navy? And that's going to be the biggest thing. The pace of this game will dictate a lot, and I think that the biggest thing is that Navy has nothing to lose, as they usually do in this game. So just leave everything on the field. You have a new coaching staff. You have a, a seemingly a new culture. You probably don't have that big of a change, but you're looking at a different, I think, just a different atmosphere. You're looking at a fresh start where you can just brush off everything that happened last year and you can focus on what you need to do this year. You're facing a talented Notre Dame team, a team that will feature more talented players at every single position, but there are players that can help, I guess, slow things down and help move things in your favor. So playing into your strengths, really feeding what you do really well, and just buying into this idea that you can hang around for longer than you expect. I mean, last year, no one expected that result. I don't think that even with Notre Dame's struggles, anyone expected what Navy did. So that's something to hang your hat on. That's something to build on. And again, I really like what Navy can do. Obviously, things are changing in college football where you're looking at rule changes that make it difficult for the triple option to be as effective as you've seen. But obviously, last year it didn't really matter. And obviously, this is a group that knows what it takes to keep things close with a team like Notre Dame. But I think that this result says a lot for both programs. I think you'll see what is Navy going to look like in 2023. Are they going to be competitive in the American? Are they going to be a competitive team? A team that does not roll over? Will that continue? Or is that they're going to need some time to get acclimated to this new staff? Flipping to the other side, Notre Dame, same thing for them. What is this Dame team going to be? Because when you look at last year, they struggled against Ohio State. They lost to Marshall at home. How do they ensure that this year is different? How do they ensure that this is a team that wants to compete for a national championship? How do you ensure that happens? Well, the first thing is you blow the doors off of Navy in week 0. You ensure that this game is not close ever. This is a defense that just absolutely destroys the triple option attack. You ensure that Navy does not keep the ball longer than you want, and you're efficient with moving the ball down the field. Notre Dame's going to win this game. To me, it's just a matter of by how much. And when you look at what Notre Dame wants to do, sending a message early on isn't going to change everyone's opinion of them in terms of being a contender in terms of college football as a whole, but it at least gives you another team that should be on your radar, a team that will be put on other people's radar, and a team that can make a statement of we're coming for this top spot. And this is our first step in doing that. So it's going to be fun. It's obviously week 0. College football is back. Just the fact that we get any college football is really exciting. But Notre Dame has a lot to prove under Marcus Freeman. They have a lot to prove in college football in general. And they get a big matchup against a Navy team that will give them troubles no matter how close or not close this game is. Navy will give them some things to work on. It requires Notre Dame to be disciplined early on, and maybe that gets them focused where they need to be. If this group can lock in and play to their potential, then this game won't be close, and that means good things for Notre Dame. But if not, then Navy hangs around, and we're in store then for a really entertaining game, maybe that we didn't expect. So buckle in. Week 0 is here. Notre Dame and Navy, a really classic matchup to watch, and one that still has big implications for both teams.